Okay, let's get this started. Everyone, thank you for joining the Dues and Billing training. I'll be hosting us today. My name's Omar. I'm joined with Sean, our co-host today. He'll be answering your questions in the Q&A box. So in your Zoom client at the bottom, you'll see a Q&A box. If you have any questions while we go over the content for the Dues and Billing module, please feel free to submit your questions in that Q&A box. There's also a chat box where you can talk amongst your colleagues, your attendees. So without further ado, let's go ahead and cover the topics we'll be going over. So over the course of the webinar, we'll be reviewing the dues and billings configuration settings to see what currency is set for the account, as well as your club's billing address. If you guys have any online payment accounts integrated to your account, you'd also be able to set them from that configuration settings page. And I'll go over signing up for an integrated online payment account if you guys are interested in processing payments online. We'll also go over the process of creating an invoice with different billing items, say your membership dues and any lunch costs, and then sending that email to the membership. If you guys have an integrated online payment account, those emails would include a pay online link, and I'll go over that as well. We're also going to take a look at all of the club's member account statements in our demonstration account. From the account statements, you can adjust the invoices to increase the account statement so the member owes more to the club, or you can enter, say, a cash or check payment to bring down their balance. And finally, sort of similar to what I just said, we're going to track and enter the payments for the membership. I'll also show you the reporting features for payments made over the member account statements by month, as well as the other reports we have for the dues and billing module. So bear with me here. I'm just going to pause my share. I'm going to pull up our demonstration account. Show you guys the login process. There we are. So I'm back on the home page and I'm not logged in. To get started, I'm going to click this member login link in the top right of the homepage. And from the login page here, I'm going to enter my demonstration user, Charles Hampton, and I'm going to go ahead and log in here. There we are. Once you're logged in, you'll be brought back to the home page. The difference is in the top right, instead of saying member login, we've got our user's name, as well as a member area link and a logout link. To continue, I'm going to go ahead and click member area. There we are. So from the member area, to access your club's dues and billing module, we're going to click organization in the top blue bar, and then dues and billing in the gray bar below. But you can also use the site administrator or executive's dashboard to open up the dues and billing module. So from the dashboard, instead of these top two bars, I'm going to scroll down and we should see the organization module. There we are. And from this organization dashlet, I can click dues and billing to open up the dues and billing module. Let's go ahead and click dues and billing from the dashlet. There we are. It looks like we have some previous invoices from 2021 that were sent before. Before I jumped into creating an invoice, I want to show you guys the configuration settings. So from this billing homepage, from the list of links on the left-hand menu, I'm going to click configuration settings right here. There we are. So on the billing configuration settings page, the first thing we can enter is your club's billing address information, address line 1, address line 2, standard address information, zip code, country, and so on. Really, one of the more important fields here is your display currency that will appear in the invoices. So for US-based clubs and organizations, you would change this display currency down to US dollar, or say if you're in Canada, you can choose Canadian dollar. If you open up this currency dropdown and you find your currency isn't listed, definitely reach out to us with the currency you're looking to include in the module, and we can work with the team to add your currency to the list. So I'm gonna select US dollar for our Greentown accounts. Okay, and then the next option here is when creating new items, apply amount to, and then it lists all members or do not apply. And what this setting means is when we're working in an invoice and create a billing item, automatically the billing item will either be applied to all members, or we've selected do not apply, so that we manage who has ordered from the invoice and then select how many quantities they've ordered. And that'll make more sense once we create a bill and get that sent out. Okay, we also have these display options for including members on the invoices and account statements. So say if you have any ex-member records who may have open accounts, you would ideally have this already on, but you can come to the configuration settings, check this show ex member and show honorary member to review those account statements for the ex members and honorary members. And finally, this payment comment required is if the member logs into your club website to make an online payment with an integrated online payment account, if this setting is checked, they would have to enter a comment to submit their payment, or if it's unchecked, they wouldn't have to. And additionally, if an administrator goes in to enter a payment for a member, they would also have to use this setting. So if it's set, then the administrator would have to enter a comment on when they're entering that adjustment to the account statement or payment, or if it's unchecked, for the payment or entering a comment. Okay, I'm going to leave that setting off, but if you guys would like that history so people aren't just entering payments without more information, you can definitely check that payment comment required. Okay, just below the display options, we also have tax rates. For our demonstration club, we've set the GST federal tax to 5% and the state tax to 8%. You can adjust these numbers. If you'd like them to not appear in the invoices at all, you can just delete the values. Oops, I guess I should say enter zeros for the values, and then those fields, those tax fields wouldn't appear with values in the invoices. Okay, but I will keep the 5 and 8 tax values when we're creating the invoices. And finally, we have this select payment method option on the page. And this is for if your club is signed up for those integrated online payment accounts. Looking at the ones we have connected here, we've got a Sage test payment account, as well as a deactivated Bambora payment account that I'm not able to select. I'll select this Sage payment account, though I wouldn't be able to test the online payments over our webinar, but I will send it. And when sending it, those invoices will include a pay online link because we've selected an online payment account. So I'm going to save these updates to our billing settings. Effectively, we change the display currency and then set the online payment account for the module. And to save the updates, I'm going to click this orange save button. Okay, and while talking about the online payment accounts, this is where I wanted to segue quickly to talk about how you guys can sign up for online payment accounts. So I'm going to pull up a new browser tab and go to our homepage, clubrunner.ca, and then press enter. And from our homepage, you can review for the fees to sign up for an online payment account by clicking this features button in the top menu of our homepage. And then on the following page, you'll see all of the features available in the standard version of Club Runner. We're going to scroll down to the online payment feature and click. And from here, you'll get an overview of how the online payment account works with your club's Club Runner website. To get to the payment account information, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. And from here, we can select which country your organization is based in. I suspect most of our attendees are from the US, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up our integrated online payment provider for US-based organizations, Paya. So from this page, you can read more about the integrated online payment accounts from Paya, which include a virtual terminal that you can log into to review the online transactions. Really, what I want to show you guys from this page is if we scroll down about halfway, we'll see this pricing table, and these are the costs for a Paya payment account. These costs are charged from Paya to the club outside of Club Runner. But once you guys have an online payment account, and you would apply with the application form here. And if you have questions about applying for an online payment account, definitely reach out to us. But once your club has signed up for the online payment account, our team would be notified and then set the integration. And once the integration is set, I'm going to go back to our demonstration account. You would be able to see the online payment account here for this select payment method. And if you guys were creating an event for your events module, when configuring the payment options for the event, you could select the online payment account for that event. So that's all I'm going to talk about the online payment accounts. I'll leave this as is, and let's go back to our online or our demonstration account to create an invoice. So we've saved our billing settings. Let's go ahead and return to the billing home, and I can do that by clicking this home link or using the same top two bars, organization, then dues and billing. There we are. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with creating a brand new bill. And to get started, let's click this orange create new bill button. So automatically when clicking that create new bill button, the due date of the bill will be set to the next month from today. So it's set to June 12th. Before I change the due date, let's enter a description for the bill. I'm going to title this quarterly member dues and Luncheons. And that's what we're going to charge the member for, is for their quarter member dues and then any lunches that they've ordered when coming to the club's meetings. And I also want to update this due date. I want it to be at the end of next month. So let's go ahead and click this calendar icon, and a little calendar select will appear where we can select the date that the bill is due. I'm going to select June 30th by clicking it, and automatically it's been updated. You can type it in, though there is some formatting, so I suggest using that little calendar icon and then selecting the day. You can navigate back and forth through the months with these two arrows in the top right. Say I wanted it to be July 30th, I would click this arrow, and then from July 2022, I can select July 31st as the last day. But I'll leave it as June 30th. Finally, we have this comments text box. These comments would appear on the emailed invoices sent to your members. So you could give a brief overview about the bill. I'll just state this bill is for quarterly member dues and luncheon costs for club meetings. Okay, and that's all I'm going to enter for our new bill. To save our bill initially here, I'm going to click this blue save link on the right side of the page. There we are. As soon as I click save, we're brought into the bill. As we're looking at it right now, there are no items for the bill, and we'll get started on that. So let's go ahead and click this orange add additional item button in the top right of the billing item list here. So I'm going to click that button. There we are. And then on the following page, we can create one billing item. You can create many billing items, and I'll create two over our demonstration. But you guys can create 3, 4, 5. I do know some clubs like to keep the dues not so all at once for the members. So it may be a good idea to split them up quarterly or separate the billing items into different bills so that your members aren't receiving all of the charges all at once. And that's what we're doing with this quarterly dues bill. So to begin, I'll start with the quarterly membership dues as the first item. Let's say we're charging the members $120 annually for their membership. So the quarterly member dues would be $30 per item. So in this unit price field just below, I'm going to enter 30. And I guess I should mention while I'm here, we've got this quantity field at the top, and I'll use this for the luncheons, but effectively this quantity is the default quantity applied to your members when we select the members for the item. So I'm going to leave it as 1, but when we create the luncheons, I'm going to set this as 3, and then when we select the members from the list below, each of them should start with the quantity of 3. For now, I'm just going to leave the quarterly member dues as 1 with the quantity, but we'll come back to this setting. And we also see our state tax and Fed tax values from the dues and billing configuration settings, and those taxes are being applied right here for the items. So we've set up our quarterly member dues item. The next step is selecting the members. And you may recall when we were in the configuration settings, we had one of those options apply to all members. If that option was checked, all of the members would be checked with the option with a quantity of 1 and the default pricing, but with it set to not apply, nobody has been assigned the item, so we have to do that ourselves. So I can do that either by checking the member's name from the checkboxes here, and we'll see that the quantity is updated with their unit price, or I can uncheck them and then select all active members, and all of the active members are selected. If we scroll down some more from that dues and billing setting page, we also opted to show the honorary members and X members. It doesn't make sense to charge the X members, so I'm going to leave this group out, but we can also charge the honorary members. Say the honorary members are paying half of what the regular members are doing, or sorry, are paying. So we can select them, and we'll see that the unit price is $30, but we can adjust this by highlighting the unit price field for just that member and then typing in the revised pricing. So I'm going to enter 15 for these honorary members, not 1,500, there we are, 15, and then 15 for the final honorary member. And while you're on this page, if you'd like to increase the quantity, you can do that for just one member. Say I'm going to use Zach's record here. I'm going to press 2. And if I click outside the box, the quantity has been updated, but it looks like Yep, the quantity is updated and so has the total. So we see that Zach is paying twice as much because he's getting 2 of these quarterly member dues. Say he wants to pay half of his dues instead of a quarter. You could multiply the item by 2 like we have here, and then it would double the cost in the total column. And you can do that for any numbers. You can go 3, 4, 5. And if you'd like to adjust the price for Zach, you can do that as well. Say he's paying 75% of what other members are paying. We can enter 22.50. And that will also update as soon as I click outside. There it is. It's now 50.85. So we're good with what we've set for the billing, or for at least for these quarterly member dues. I'm going to save this billing item for the bill by clicking the orange save button. I do believe there's also a save button at the bottom of the page. There we are. So you can click either of those orange save buttons, and it should bring us back to the bill's main page. Perfect. And we see that 19 total members have been selected for a total of $610.20. That's accumulating all of the adjustments we made for the honorary members and Zach's active record. So we're going to add another billing item. And to do that, I'm going to click this orange add additional item button. There we are. And this time we're going to create the luncheon, the lunch costs. So by default, over this quarter period, let's say members are coming to meetings every month, and every month that they come, they get a lunch. So I'm going to set the default quantity to 3. And we're going to say that I should say the invoice detail is club meeting lunches. Okay, and then for the price, we're going to enter, say, $20. These lunches are expensive. We're serving caviar and other fancy items. So we're going to enter 20 for the unit price. Again, with the default quantity set as 3, the amount for each member that's set will be by default $60 plus the tax values that we've entered. And again, because we didn't automatically set the bill to select the active memberships, we have to go and select them. And I'm going to just select a handful of members. Say some members aren't coming to the meetings and ordering lunches, so we're just going to select a handful. So I'm just going to, at random here, pick a few members. There we are. I'm good with that. And Charles Hampton is the record I'm logged into. And I want to check back on the email after we send it out. So this is perfect. And let's say Charles has opted to pay slightly more for his lunches. He's getting some fancy drink. We can increase that cost to 25 just for Charles. And if I click outside of the box, the total price is updated from $67.80 to $84.75 for Charles because he's getting those drinks with his lunch. And say some members only came to 1 or 2 of the 3 meetings, we can change those quantities again. Say Judith only came to 1 and John came to 2. So I'm going to click outside those boxes, and those values have also been updated for the members. And again, we can select the honorary members. And if you guys have active satellite or active corporate members, those will also appear just after the honorary group. And again, we have the ex-member group, but they have been terminated, and so they will not be charged. So we've set our second item. I'm going to go ahead and save it this time with the top orange save button. There we are. So from here, we've got our bill set. We can check on the full billing roster, so each member's totals, by going to step 2 and then clicking this billing roster link. Okay, I just want to mention, I do see a few raised hands in our attendees list. If you guys have questions, please feel free to submit them to us in the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom meeting session. If we don't have time to answer your questions today, there will be a Q&A session closer to the end of our session here, but we will also review the chat logs, but you can also reach out to us directly from clubrunnersupport.com. So I'm going to take a break from our bill review here to show you guys clubrunnersupport.com. I'm going to open up a new tab in my browser and go to clubrunnersupport.com. And say if you're looking for more information on the dues and billing module, you can definitely search the knowledge base and club version, or you can reach out to us directly with your questions with this blue contact us button. But you've got us here in the webinar, so definitely submit your questions to us with the Q&A box, and we'll be sure to get to them while we go over the webinar or in the Q&A session at the end. Okay, that's all I want to show for now. Let's go back to our bill review. So I clicked review billing items, and here we are. We see each member who was selected for the invoices with all of their items. So Baker Sue has only been charged for the quarterly membership dues, but if we go down to John, we can see he's paying for his membership dues as well as the 2 lunches that we've set. And if I go to Charles Hampton, who had the special lunch price, there we are. He's paying the quarterly dues as well as his 3 lunches at $25 per each for a total of 118. So I'd say the bill looks good. We've selected our members and set the items. The next step is to generate the invoices. And to go back to that, I should be able to click a go back link here. There we are at the very bottom right. I'm going to click that go back link. And the next step is this generate invoices button. I do want to stress, once we click this orange generate invoices buttons, the bill is saved to the member profiles and there isn't a way to go back into the bill and adjust the billing items. So do double check with that billing roster item as well as your billing items. You can go back to any of them and edit them by clicking this blue edit link. So just double check before clicking that generate invoices button. So I'm going to go ahead and start the generate process. The system will take a minute or two to create those emails and invoices for the members. We're not sending them yet with this step. We're just generating them for the system to hold on to and then sending them after we've generated them. So I click that generate button. If I scroll down, it's perfect. We've generated the invoices. The next step and the final step is this print and email invoices step. And I'm going to get started on that by clicking this view individual invoices link. Okay, and the system is pulling up that invoice information for the members. There we are. So this is the full report. It looks similar to the review step, but the main difference here is we can select a number of members and then download their invoices in a PDF format or email them if they have an email address in their profile. So looking quickly through here, I can see that Lay Brackett does not have an email. So if we were to select her and click email selected invoices, Lay would not be sent an email. The other option would be to download the invoice for Lay and then share that with her at the next club meeting. So let's start with Lay, and then I'll show you guys the email, and we'll return to the email archive to check on the email statistics after. So let's start with Lay here. I've selected her record. We can't email her because she doesn't have an email address. Let's select her record and click this download selected invoices button. And after a short delay, my browser downloads the invoice. I hope you guys can see that. I'm going to click the invoice below. There we are. And here's a copy of the invoice. It goes Rotary Club of Greentown to Lay Brackett, and then it lists the item itself. If we were to email Lay the invoice, and we'll do that for the other members, but I won't be able to review the emails individually. But if we were to email Lay with the integrated online payment account, an extra pay online link would appear at the bottom of the invoice where a member can click that link and then they'll be taken to the club's Club Runner member area where they can go to their account statement and submit the payment. They would have to log into the club's website to submit the payment, and I'll show you what that process looks like for members after clicking the link. So let's close this downloaded PDF for Lay. There we are. The next step is sending it to the other members. And to do that, I'm just going to select everybody by clicking this select all link and then unselecting anybody who doesn't have an email address. So I'm going to leave layout, and it looks like, oh, test doesn't have an email address, and Woods Chuck doesn't have an email address, but everybody else seems to have one. So I'm going to leave everybody else selected and then go to the top and click this email selected invoices. I do want to share, you can email individual invoices to just one member by using the email link for that record. For Lay, that email option isn't available because they don't have an email address. But we've selected everybody with a working email address, and we're just going to send it. I'm going to click that email selected invoices button. There we are. We've been brought to the dues and billing email archive, and we see that our email for the quarterly luncheon dues is queued for sending. We'll come back to this page to check on the status of the bill. I do want to mention while working with your members to send those invoices, sometimes members have, or corporate members have somebody at their corporation who's paying for their membership at the club. That email interface for the bills will use by default the primary email address for a member's profile. But if they have an alternate email address or a corporate email address, the bill should be going going to, I'll show you how you can set that for the member's profile right now. So I've sent the invoice, so it's too late to go back. If I wanted to do that again, I'd have to open up the bill and then resend it after changing the member's preferred email address or preferred dues and billing email address. But let's go ahead and show you guys how you can set that. So I'm going to go to my club runner and my profile just for Charles's profile. But say you're trying to do this for another member, you would click membership in the top blue bar, then member list in the gray bar below. From here, we would open up the member you're working with to set the dues and billing email address. Let's say John, because he's an active corporate member. So from John's profile, we have his email address information just below the member details section, as well as his alternate email address. If we look on the right side here, we have a dues and billing preferred email, and this is where the invoices are sent to. So for John right now, the emails are being sent to gregor.bustin@sendgrid.net. If we want to get them to send this very similar email address without the T, we can do that by clicking this blue edit button. And then if I scroll down, I can go to the dues and billing preferred email and then select alternate email and then save the update. So now invoices sent from the system to John will go to this alternate email instead of the member's primary email address. And that's how you can include another email address for a member. There isn't a way to email one invoice to two email addresses for one member. So it can only send to one person, but you can choose who it's supposed to be sent to with this dues and billing preferred email, either the regular email or alternate email. Let's go ahead and go back to the dues and billing module. I want to go over the member account statement. So I'm going to go to organization, dues and billing in the gray bar just below. There we are, and we have sent out that invoice, so I'm expecting to see on the account statements at least the invoice. So let's go ahead from the list of links. We're going to click account statements. There we are, and as I pull it up, I see a few members have different charges. Looks like Charles Hampton's balance is more than what we had billed for. To review Charles's statement, I'm going to click this blue show transactions button on the right side of the page. There we are. And on this page, we can see a history of the bills that were sent to the member, as well as any payments entered for the member. So there we are. We can see our May 12th bill due June 30th. He has incurred an additional $118.65 on his account balance, and that's appearing as 143.65 here. It looks like he is still negative to the club. He still has to pay the club, but he has made some payments, and it doesn't look like everything was paid off all at once, just sort of piecemeal. But that's how you can review the member account statements. If you'd like to adjust them, we can click this credit adjustment, debit adjustment, or cancel transaction options in the top left of the menu here. You can also enter payments with payment entry or multiple payments for multiple member profiles with the multiple payment entry. I'll quickly go through these. So let's start with payment entry. I'm just going to click that link from the menu. Here we are. It will automatically open for the member's account statement that you have selected. So for Charles, he's just filled in. We can we can view his account balance by clicking this view statement button, and we can enter a comment for the payment being made for the member. I'm going to type in check payment made May 11th. So yes, today, May 12th. And then we can enter the amount that the member is paying for their balance. I'm going to enter 100. And we're going to say it's made today. The transaction date is today. If you recall from the configuration settings, we left the payment comment required unchecked. So I don't have to have a comment when I make this payment, but I prefer to leave more information about the payment. So I'm going to leave it. But if you'd like to make sure everybody is entering comments, definitely open up that configuration page and check the payment comment required checkbox. So I'm going to save this payment for Charles with this orange post button. There we are. I'm going to click OK on this browser prompt. And if I return to the member profile, we should see May 12th payment for $100, and it has reduced the member's account balance. So that's how you can enter a manual payment for the member. Say Charles was accidentally charged those additional $5 for each of the lunches. So he wasn't supposed to be charged $25. He was only supposed to be charged $20. So we would have to adjust his statement by $15. The next way we can do that is either with this credit or debit adjustment. I'm just going to double check here by clicking credit adjustment. And I really like using this help text because it helps me know how this adjustment is affecting the balance. So for credit adjustments, if we enter a positive number, it'll act as a payment to decrease the balance owed. And that is what we want to do here. We're trying to reduce $15 from those 3 lunches altogether from his account balance. I'm going to enter in the amount for the adjustment as $15 and say Charles was supposed to pay $20. $20 per lunch. Correcting invoice. Okay, and I'm going to enter that comment and this credit adjustment to Charles's statement by clicking this orange post button. And again, okay on the browser prompt. And there we are. We should see there it is, credit note, and for $15, so we further reduced his balance to $28.65. Okay, debit adjustments work the opposite as a credit adjustment. So let's go ahead and check that out. I'm going to click debit adjustment, and looking at the help text here, if we enter a positive number, it'll act as a charge to increase the amount Charles owes. So say we did that erroneously. He did actually order the drinks and he was supposed to have those 15 additional dollars for his lunches. We can fix that again by entering in this debit adjustment of $15. Charles had ordered drinks. And I'll save this update here. There we are with this orange post button. It should go back up to $43.65. Perfect. So we've effectively adjusted a member's account statement. You can use that credit and debit adjustment to either credit the account as a payment or debit the account for an increase in the account statement that they have or the balance they owe to the club. The next item I want to show you is this multiple payment entries item. So I'm clicking that link from the left-hand menu in this statement section, multiple payment entries. And from this page, we can enter the payment amount for each member right here in this amount text box, or you can copy the remaining balance, say they're paying whatever's remaining on their account exactly. John Dean sends us a check for $79.10. I can click this copy link and automatically his remaining balance is copied. And we can do that for a number of members. And you can adjust the amount. So say he actually only sent us $50 in cash, we can update that and then we can enter a comment cash payment, but for Peter Parker, check payment. And same for Kilgore Trout, I'm going to say check payment here. And you can change the transaction dates for each of these payments on the members' account statements when they're open. So we could change Mr. Kilgore's to say earlier in the month, May 6th, he sent us the money ahead of time. Okay, you can do the same for your honorary members. These are from the display honorary members, ex-members settings from the billing settings. So these members will appear. It looks like some ex-members have a remaining balance, but we'll leave that for another day. Going back to the bottom of the page, pardon me, we should see an orange save button. I'm not seeing the orange save button. I suspect there is some configuration issue with our demonstration account. If you're using your club account, you should see a save payments button. I believe right here. I'm not certain why I'm not seeing it. We were able to save other payments. For your club accounts, you guys should see them right here, save payments, and then it'll confirm in a dialog. Oh, pardon me. This is completely my error. We're actually supposed to preview the payments and then save the payments. Pardon me for that. It is this preview payments button. So I'm going to go ahead and click preview payments. There we are. Pardon me. And thank you, Sean, for your quick comment there. That's an error completely on my part. But we can review the payments we're entering and then click this orange submit button. Let's go ahead and submit the payments. There we are. Pardon me. So we're going to check on Kilgore's account to make sure that that payment was entered. Here he is, Kilgore Trout. We can see that automatically his balance has been reduced to 0. If we click show transactions, If we click show transactions, we should be able to see that check payment comment that I entered for May 6th. We dated it earlier and the full amount 667.80. And I guess one more feature for the account statements page is, say there isn't an invoice or bill you're looking to send to the membership, but you want to show the members that they have an open account with the club. You can email them their account balance and it'll show them their current year's transactions. To do that, you can select the members you'd like to send their account statements and then click this orange send statement by email button. Similar to how we applied those billing items, you can also select all members. So everybody is selected and then you can send the account statement, or you can select only members with an owing statement. So if I click select only members with an owing statement, any member with $0 balance should not be emailed. And we can see that for Peter and Kilgore. They've been excluded from this account statement email. The next step is to click this orange send statement by email button. Okay, before I go to the reports, I want to take you guys to the email archive so we can review the bills we sent to the membership. After that, we'll go to the reports and then we'll open up for Q&A. So to get to the email archive, from this gray menu in the left-hand side, I'm going to click Email Archive in the Reports section. So let's go ahead and click Email Archive. And there we are. Instead of the queued for sending status, it's now been sent on May 12th at 11:31. To review the statistics to make sure that the members received the email, I'm going to click this Actions drop-down button on the right side of the page and then select Stats. Okay, so here we see the stats email page. For those of you that have sent emails before in the communication module and reviewed stats, this page will look similar. We've got 3 general boxes at the top here open to denote if the member or an application on their device had opened the email. Successfully delivered box to note that the member was sent the email, and then any undelivered and errors where if the email was sent to the member and either the email server couldn't deliver it to the member or replied back to our systems with an error, they would appear in general in this column, but we can actually review the specific status for the members if we scroll down some more and then review the status column. So the first 4 here appear with the sent statistic, which denotes that their email address was sent the invoice. If we scroll down some more, we've got a drop statistic for some of these example email addresses. In this case, the email system had sent an email earlier to Kilgore, for example. However, it couldn't deliver it to the member for some reason, and so future emails are dropped. And that's what's happened for our bill here. Is Kilgore was sent an earlier email, his email address replied with an error, and future emails will become dropped. I guess while I'm here, I can quickly talk about the blocked email list, though you would need a 50- Club Executive access level to view it. From the communication module in the top blue bar, you can click Manage Blocked Emails, and this page will list why the systems could not email the member. So Judith Draper couldn't be sent because her email address draperj@example.com is invalid, where the other addresses were valid and were sent an email with those sent statistics. But the other ones with dropped have all the same error, in this case, invalid address. Okay, and just to quickly go over that email archive again, you can access it from the organization module, then dues and billing. And from the list of links in the left-hand menu, we would click Email Archive to review the past emailed bills. Okay, next I want to show you guys are the debits and credits report as well as the monthly balance. To get started, let's use the debits and credit report. I'm going to go ahead and click that. There we are, and here we see a list of the balances beginning from the from date entered on the page to the end date. So we'll see Sue started with a balance of $0 on February 1st and has ended with a balance of $0 on May 1st. And we can review the same for others. Kilgore should appear, I'm looking for him here. There we are. So Kilgore, who we entered a payment for in the middle of the month in May, still has his end balance appear as $633.90. But if I change this end date for it to be today's date, let's do 1 day ahead, and then I can refresh the page. And now Kilgore should appear with a balance of $0 as his end balance. Okay, and that's effectively how you can use this member and debits report. It shows the starting balance from the from date and then the ending balance from the end date, as well as the total debit and credits made on the account over that period. If you'd like to include all of your membership, including the honorary members, you can select all from the top here, or say you're looking for just your X members, you can select inactive. And if you want to download this as a spreadsheet, you can click this download in Excel format button. I'll go ahead and click it. And right here, we can see the debit credit report spreadsheet file has been downloaded to my browser. If I click it, oh, my Excel program wants to adjust the file. I'm going to click yes. There we are. We can see the different account statements with those from and to dates for the debit and credit expiry report. Okay, I'm just going to close this Excel program. There we are. The next report is the monthly balance report, and this will give you a month-to-month breakdown of the members' account statement. Let's go ahead and click monthly balance report. So similar to the debits and credit report, we have a from and to date at the top of the form, and we can choose which type of member we're looking for the account statements. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to set this from date to be one more month earlier. So let's go ahead from January 1st, and let's leave it as May 1st as the start of this month. To refresh the report, I'm going to click the blue refresh button, and then for each start of month, we can see the members balance on the start of the month. So January 1st, we've got $135 for Q AVN. It looks like it just stays that way, but for other members, we would need to set just a little bit further in the future. So I'm going to set this to June 1st and refresh the report. There we are. And Kilgore Trouts, I'm just scrolling for him here. There we are. We can see that his balance changes in the final month in June 1st for $0. If you'd like to change the date that these balances are starting on, that is controlled from this from field. So say we'd like to have the balance be displayed for the 5th day of the month instead of the 1st day, we can click that calendar icon and then choose the 5th day from when we'd like to begin the report, and then refresh the report. And now each of those columns begins on the day we set from the from column. So January 5th, February 5th, and so on. And it'll display the members account statement for that day per month. So I know a lot of clubs get a good use out of this as a way to quickly see who's paying and when they're paying for their account statement. So do check this out if you're looking to make sure when your club members are making their payments. You can also use that debits and credits report, and then download these reports and spreadsheets to share with your club if they're interested in reviewing the payment history. One last item I'd like to cover is this export to QuickBooks option. If your club has a QuickBooks account, either the online version where you log in through your browser or the desktop version installed to your device, you can export the transactions, invoices, and payments made by your members by using this export to QuickBooks desktop version or export to QuickBooks online version. When you click these buttons, a zip file will be downloaded to your computer with the different payments, invoices, and transaction spreadsheets, which can then be imported into your QuickBooks software. Okay, and that's all the content I have for our dues and billing webinar today. I hope you learned a little bit about sending the invoices, signing up for an integrated online payment account if your club is interested in processing payments online. I will give the floor to Sean to answer any questions, though I'll still hang around in the Q&A box to answer any other written questions. So please feel free to share your questions, and Sean, thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar, for all that great information during the webinar. So I'll go ahead and we'll start the Q&A session. So we did have a lot of great questions come in. And so we'll go ahead and cover some of those. Let me just share my screen here. So the first question, and we actually got it a couple of times, is how does a user process the online payment? So how do they go about paying for the invoice online? So what'll happen is, as Omar showed, once the email is sent, so once the invoice is sent to the member, as long as in the configuration settings here, we have the payment method selected, the online payment module, what's going to happen is in that email that we send to the member, in the invoice that's on the email, there's going to be a pay now link. So what they'll do is they'll go ahead, they'll click the pay now link. And what will happen is it will take them to Club Runner. They're going to go in and log in, and it's going to take them to this page here. So it's under My Club Runner and then My Account Balance. And they're not going to have to click this. They'll be taken directly to this page. So they're going to go ahead and click Pay Now. They're going to log in, and then they'll be shown this page here where we can see all of our past invoices here. We can see the total that we owe. So for the user that I'm currently logged in as, it's $296.20. And then we have the option here to select how much we want to pay. So we just go ahead and click the make a payment option. And then here's where we'll have the credit card form that the user can fill out and then process that payment. So in order for members to go in and pay for that invoice, they will have to click that pay now link on the email invoice that they received, and then they will have to fill out their credit card information here. And the next question we had, it was actually similar to the online payment question was, does the online payments get entered automatically, or does that have to be entered manually like check payments? So the online payments are automatically entered. So they're fully integrated payments. So what happens is once I fill out this particular form, I go ahead and click submit. It'll process the payment, of course, and if it's successful, the system will automatically apply the payment to that specific member's account statement. So you don't have to worry about going, at least for online payments, you don't have to worry about going back and entering that information and submitting the payment through manual transaction. That is all done automatically. Again, that is for the online payment. Of course, if they do a check payment or a cash payment, then yes, that will need to be manually entered into the system. But for online payments, no, that is automated. Okay, and so a common question that we actually get fairly often is what's the difference between a statement and the invoice? So if we look at here and what we saw Omar cover, creating the invoice, adding the line items, so that's specifically the invoice. So the invoice contains one or more line items, whereas the account statement is not just the one invoice with the line items, but rather it's a collection of all of the past transactions. So that includes charges that are charged to the member through the invoices, any payments, all of that stuff will be included on the account statement. So let's just take a quick look here. So if I go to account statements here on the left, okay, and we'll go ahead and this is the user I'm logged in as, so John Valentine. So on the right here, we have the option to show transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then we'll see all of our recent transactions. So if I go ahead and click, okay, that's all the transactions we have. So we can see right now, this member hasn't made any payments. There hasn't been any adjustments. There's just been the invoices that haven't been paid yet. And this is the, like I said, the account statement. So the account statement, as you can see, has all of the invoices that were sent to this particular member. I do also want to go back here to the account statement, because this is also another question that we get fairly often. So we have this column here that says statement last emailed. So just to clarify, the statement last emailed is the last time that the account statement was emailed to the member. So not specifically the invoice, but rather this entire account statement, so that the collection of transactions. So for example, if you go down to the member here, John Valentine, the last time that we actually emailed their account statement to them was July 16th, 2021. So do keep that in mind, that that particular column, the statement last emailed, is specific to this account statement and not to, if we go back to home, the individual invoices that are created here. We also, another common question we get, I know Omar did cover it, but just to reiterate, sometimes we do get questions about sending the dues and billing invoice to a different email address. And that is something that Club Runner does support. So if we go to the My Club Runner tab on the light blue menu bar near the top, and then on the menu bar directly below, we're going to go ahead and click My Profile. Now on the right, if we go ahead and click the blue edit button, and if we scroll down a little bit, we will see the dues and billing preferred email. So we can set it to either the primary email or the alternate email. Right now, this user doesn't have an alternate email, but if I did have an alternate email here, we can select alternate email. And what will happen is, specifically in the dues and billing module, when an invoice is sent to this member, instead of being sent to the primary email address here, it'll actually be sent to the alternate email. So keep that in mind, that you do have that option to change where that can be sent to. And I have one more question here that we can cover, and it's about duplicating the bill. So if you, for example, are creating bills monthly or quarterly, we do get asked if we can duplicate a bill. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. The answer to that is yes. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Organization tab on the menu bar near the top. And we're going to click the Dues and Billing link on the menu bar directly below. And you can see here the invoice that Omar created in this session is here. And if you go to the right here, we do have an option to copy. So I'll go ahead and just click this copy link. It'll ask you to confirm. We'll go ahead and click OK. And now you can see there's a new invoice here that says copy of quarterly member dues and luncheon. So what we can do is we can go ahead and click the edit link here on the right. Let's just remove copy of, and let's just say Q2, for example. Oops. And we can, of course, go in and edit the due date and the comments. We'll go ahead and just click save. And when you do copy the invoice, make sure that you go in. We're going to go ahead and actually just open this invoice by clicking on the description there. And we're going to scroll down. What I like to do is, what I recommend is editing each of the line items and making sure that they are still correct. So it will copy all of that information over. So all this information that Omar entered, it's all here. All the members are selected. So we do want to go in and make sure that the correct members are selected and everything is still correct. So yes, we can go in and make a copy of the invoice. Just make sure that you go in and follow the same process and just make sure everything is still correct. But at least you don't have to go in and manually add the additional line items. They'll already be there from the previous invoice. And after you review that, the process is the same. Of course, you can use the billing roster page to review and confirm all of the individual invoices, and then we'll have to generate the invoices just like we saw earlier. So I think that's going to be about it for the Q&A session. I'd like to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. Hopefully you found the session helpful. If you guys do have any questions or still not sure about anything, you can definitely go over to our knowledge base. It's clubrunnersupport.com. Or if you still have questions, you can contact us directly using our support@clubrunner.ca email. If you do want to start a discussion online with other Club Runner users such as yourself, please feel free to post on our clubrunnercommunity.com. We have a lot of great discussions going on there. And if you do want to take some of this information, your Club Runner information on the go, we do have a free mobile app for iPhone and Android. So if you do want more information about that, please visit our clubrunner.com/mobile page for more details. Lastly, we do still have many more training sessions going on. So if you are interested in some additional training or registering for additional sessions, please visit our page here. It's clubrunner.com/training, where we have our list of sessions that we still have going on. So definitely take a look at that. Once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day.